investigation that's unfolded, do you still feel that way, that you want to put prisoners in a big concrete hole?
The way I feel is I want to make sure that we have a safe community to live in, that kids aren't breaking into homes every night, smashing windows, that when I hold a press conference yesterday, I don't get out of that press conference and see a press release come out of a 12-year-old young boy trying to rape a 78-year-old woman. I want to see an environment where these sort of situations don't occur. Well, that's a question that will have to go back to the former government. I mean, I saw some footage on Four Corners the other night that showed a prisoner hitting a young inmate. I saw prison officers throttling inmates around the neck. I saw them throwing kids on the ground, demeaning and demonising, I should say, those young inmates. I mean, these are all elements that occurred in the former Labor government. What I want to do is not play blame to that government. What I want to do is show the leadership in trying to provide solutions and bring about justice on what could have been past injustices over a long period of time.
Minister, has the department spoken to the families or to those boys yet?
Police gave a commitment yesterday that they'll be following up past investigations and seeking to have conversations with those youth. I'll have to take advice about whether those conversations have happened yet.
An official visitor who's been visiting the prison over a decade now blames kind of boys' club mentality in corrections and also politically. What do you say to that?
Well, I know that we've got a very good gender balance in our prison systems. I can't tell you exactly how many men and women are working in there, but I know that there's certainly not just men there. There's a high number of female staff who work in our prisons, both in the male and the female side of the prison. So I think that the better gender balance we get in our prisons, the better. And I do think that the prison system has continued to reform over time. Some of that footage you saw, I mean, 5 incidents under the previous government. We've sought to change a lot of things since being in the government, and I'd like to think that the prison system now is a lot better than it was 4 years ago.
Have you had further conversation with the Prime Minister in relation to the Royal Commission?
No, I haven't had a conversation with the PM today. I probably very soon will be talking to the Federal Attorney General just to finalise some of those terms of reference. There's a draft getting around at the moment, but I need to find time to sit down and work through those with him. In what regard?
To be tougher on juvenile detainees. I mean, you've been very vocal about youth crime, especially in Alice Springs. Have you ever given direction, or has anyone within your government ever given direction to come down?
There's a separation of powers between the Police and Corrections Minister and the political arm of government. I mean, that's the way governments operate all around Australia.
But surely the Corrections Minister has some say in it.
No, not at all. There's a separation of powers between the Commissioner and the political arm of government.
Oh, look, go away.
Yeah.
Go away. Couldn't security just tell her to go away?
Chief Minister,
Go.
you mentioned yesterday that there would be a new facility, juvenile one. Have you spoken to your colleagues about that since then?
Yeah, we had a cabinet meeting yesterday and we discussed the building of a new facility and also the building of a new prison farm at Mataranka Station, which designs to be a greater level of openness for inmates who may be able to go into that facility. We discussed that at cabinet yesterday and everybody's on board.
Chief Minister, do we know, on a local note, do we know when and how the Royal Commission will come to Alice Springs?
Not at this stage. I mean, it's very early. I did have a chat to the head of the Attorney General's Department yesterday, and I did note to him that we've got a new court opening here very soon, and that could be a very good piece of infrastructure to use to start that Royal Commission. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We still need to finalise terms of reference and a range of other factors.
There's been a lot of calls for the NT government not to be involved in the Royal Commission. How do you feel about that?
Well, it was the Northern Territory Government's suggestion to have the Royal Commission. I mean, we promoted it and supported it, and it's good to see the Prime Minister come on board and support that from a joint initiative. It's something that I thought needed to be done after watching that footage, and I'll continue to pursue that.
But there are accusations that the NTG knew or had been aware of the incidents. Whether that's true or not, we should find out. But do you not agree that it should be independent therefore if these accusations are around?
Well, the Royal Commission is independent. We're seeking to find somebody interstate, preferably a retired judge, but we'll still wait and see who comes in that frame. Certainly, there's been issues in the correction system for many a long period of time. People are telling me for decades. But what we've seen is improvements over time, a range of reviews, a range of upgrades to the system, particularly in youth detention. And as I say, I think things are much better now than they were 4 years ago. It's not perfect. There's more work needs to be done, but let's let the Royal Commission inform many new areas about where we can make improvements.
Was the restraint chair in use before the legislation was passed?
I'll have to take advice on that.
But you're not sure whether...
I'll have to take advice on that. The restraint chair, as I understand it, is part of the adult corrections system. I'll have to take advice on that.
Minister, the advocate has spoken to Dylan Boller's sister,
Yeah.
and she stated that he's purely a product of the system. How do you respond to that?
I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted the Royal Commission. I don't want to talk about individuals per se, so you can take away the commentary on this, but there was an individual on that Four Corners show who first presented to authorities in 2005 to Child Protection. Now, since then, they've come to jail, become in jail when they were 11. They've gone through the correctional system for the youth detainees. They're now in the adult system. And I do believe that there's an issue around whether or not the system has helped this person or hindered this person. And that's why, with the Royal Commission that I called for, I've said I wanted to extend to elements of child protection and seeing how we can support kids at the start. I mean, we're going back to 2005 when this kid was 7. In 2005, I wasn't even in Parliament, but I recognise the challenges for these kids at a young age. So let's look back, because I do think that this kid has certainly been a victim of the system.
The election's obviously not too far away. Alice Springs residents, you obviously have been very vocal, being tough on crime, especially here in Alice Springs. Are you going to continue that mentality given all the events that have happened?
Look, what I can do is represent the views of the constituents within the community, and people in Alice Springs are sick of crime. You're getting the balance right between child protection, keeping our streets safe, getting the detention centres right is a very difficult balance, but that's what we've been doing. There's been a range of reviews put in place over the term of government. We've certainly been working to fix things. We've got better training for staff. We've closed down a bad detention facility. Now we've got a better one. We've made sure that we've got better open access regimes for prisoners in detention. We've stopped prisoners being locked up for weeks at a time. That's not happening anymore. So there's a lot of things that have been done. We've taken advice of those reviews. Most recently, the Vita review, 16 recommendations, fully implemented. Recommendations from the Children's Commissioner about giving better access to the Children's Commissioner in jail. We've done that. We've put a telephone in the jail so that prisoners can ring the Children's Commissioner. They get access once a week. So there's a lot of things that have improved, still more to be done, but let's keep on that path.
What about your changes to the Bail Act about removing the presumption of bail? That's fully part of the review for minor offences. Given what we've seen, is that something that's still pursuing, the review of removing the presumption of bail, so kids are more likely to spend time in custody?
Well, nobody wants to see a kid in jail, but nobody wants to see their own kids get assaulted by other kids. Nobody wants to see their cars smashed up or their houses broken into. And as I say, getting the balance right is really important. Nobody wants to see a kid in jail. If they are, we have to make sure that they have the right parameters about how they're treated. But we need to also keep our community safe. And that balance is very difficult. One of the reasons why I want to go back and have a look at the child protection system with the Royal Commission is I don't think the kids are getting helped enough at the start. It's not to say that the child protection staff aren't doing the right thing. I think they are. But I don't know whether the policy parameters are right to be able to give those kids as much support and as much love and care as they need and desire.
Do we have a timeline with the Royal Commission or the review? Is it going to happen before the election, do you think?
No, the terms of reference will be. We think that, like early indications that I've had with George Brandis are that we should be able to start taking witness statements and hearings by about September, and the final report come down early next year. This isn't a thing that we want to run for 5 or 10 years. We want it to be done quickly so we can take advice and recommendations and put them forward for the system.
Minister, do you think Dylan Boller should be released immediately into rehabilitation?
Well, that's a matter for the courts. I don't get involved in the court process.
Can I ask this?
Yeah, mate.
So you've said in the past that you'd like to say that kids should be in detention. It's better than going to their family. What's your position?
Look, at that stage, I wasn't talking about kids. I was talking about young men who I know families think that when they go to prison, it's safer for them to be in prison. Because,
and that's where we say farewell to viewers in WA. If you want to
Some of my
continue watching this, you can do so on ABC News 24.
Being able to get back into the community and look for jobs and settle down, and it just makes families feel happy about their sons being in prison, because it is a peace of mind for them.
So is that still your
Because I'm talking from experience, where I've seen so many of our young people who do, get into a lot of trouble, end up in the prisons, and, that's a safe place for them.
Should there be more other options other than going?
Well, I've been talking about other options, and I would like to see more rehabilitation centres out in communities, maybe use our outstations, and YDAC program in Yuendamu has worked well. So something similar to that would be an opportunity, or would be an option for young people to be able to be part of.
Will McGregor's portion of the federal government that this program, would you look to sort of maybe providing more funding to programs like that target at-risk youth that actually work? Would you be looking to sort of...
I would like to see more programs out in the remote communities, because that's where children need to be, taken back to where they can learn a bit more about their culture and and get grounded by their culture, as well as to who they should be and how they should behave in the wider community. Look, I know the YDAC program out at Yuendamu has been working well, and similar programs, yes, of course, would be the way to go to help these young people.
All right, we might leave it there, eh? Thanks, Bess.
Live from Alice Springs, the Northern Territory Chief Minister Adam Giles there holding a media conference a day after that Royal Commission was announced into the juvenile detention system in the Northern Territory. That came after the Four Corners program on Monday revealed the mistreatment of those boys in the Dondale Detention Centre in Darwin. The Chief Minister saying there that he is committed to finding solutions. Time now for